Welcome back. Alaska Governor Sarah Palin is leaving the governor's office with a year and a half left in her first term.
She is making the case she can do more as a fighter outside government, but some Republicans are telling her thanks but no thanks when it comes to campaigning for them. But should the GOP be showing their former vice presidential candidate more support and respect? Here to make their case are Sam Jacobs, a blogger for thedailybeast.com, and Brian Fountain, a contributor to redstate.com. Sam, let's start with you. No surprise that somebody running for governor in New Jersey doesn't want Sarah Palin around, given how sort of a red hot she is right now?
It's actually very surprising, David. If you look at the polling right now, something over 70% of Republican voters said this week that they would be likely, somewhat likely, or very likely to vote for Palin in 2012. So I understand she's a bit of a lightning rod in the party, but if I were campaigning for governor, I might want her by my side.
Then, Brian, if that's the case, then why aren't Republicans inviting her?
Well, I think that this is a difficult stage in Sarah Palin's career, and the safe move is to say right now that you want Sarah Palin to stand on her own and work to establish herself in her new role. It's safer to say you don't want her to come in, and you can always change your mind down the road. I suspect some of the candidates that we see running this year and next year will.
Here's what Sarah Palin told our Andrew Mitchell about why she's leaving. Watch.
You haven't finished the job, some would say.
You're not listening to me as to why I wouldn't be able to finish that final year in office without it costing the state millions of dollars and countless hours of wasted time.
Now, I want to read you two reactions. First, conservative columnist Peggy Noonan. She wrote this about Palin today. Quote, her presentation up to the end has been scattered, illogical, manipulative, and self-reverential to the point of self-reverence. In another age, it might not have been terrible, but here and now, it was actually rather horrifying. And then perhaps horrifying to the Palin family is when Levi Johnston, formerly engaged to Palin's daughter, weighed in. This is what he said about why the governor's stepping down. I think the big deal was the book. That was millions of dollars. Brian, this continues, and it's not going well for Sarah Palin, right?
Well, I think that Sarah does come off looking worse from this. I think that comments like those from Peggy are frankly kind of exaggerated and borderline hysterical. But I think that what Sarah Palin needed after the 2008 election and what she needs today for the for her political future and for the future of her beliefs is to step away a little bit, get out of the Washington spotlight, and that's something that a polarizing figure and an interesting figure like her has had a hard time doing.
And Sam, let me ask you to add to what David pointed out with Peggy Noonan calling Sarah Palin illogical, manipulative, horrifying. This is a female conservative. Do the Democrats or any other liberal voices need to say anything when you've got Peggy Noonan giving her a smackdown?
No, I think you're right. I mean, I think that the party seems to be lacking a lot of focus today. But as you can see, the people voting for the Republican Party are in favor of this candidate, while those at the top seem to be scratching their heads.
Sam, where is this going? I mean, as a Democrat, I know Democrats would love for this to continue for another year, but at a certain point, Sarah Palin's going to drift away from the media spotlight, and then what?
Well, I actually don't see Sarah Palin drifting away from the media spotlight. I think she succeeds as long as she can make it appear as if she's running against the grain and running up against the national media. The scene you saw this week with her literally staring down the cameras of the national media from the safety of her fishing boat is one that I think she'd like to play up throughout the next few years.
Brian, is it helpful for Republicans if Sarah Palin's out there grabbing up the spotlight, especially if some of them, like the one in New Jersey, like one in Virginia, don't really want her around in their campaigns?
No, I have to disagree there, David. I think that regardless of what Sarah Palin does and what she appears to be on the news, people are going to respond based on the issues when the election comes around. And I think there's a lot of concern about the Obama agenda. We see the approval ratings dropping, concern about the economy. Sarah Palin is a distraction, but she's one that's not going to, I think, affect elections for Republican candidates in a negative way.
Interesting conversation. Jason and Brian, thank you both so much. We appreciate you coming in this afternoon. And Tamron, that Levi Johnston, regardless of what you think of Sarah Palin, wow. I mean, I'm going to get myself in trouble if I say what I really think about Levi, but
well, no, I know what you're saying, David, but the reality is, and some have made the point, Levi was brought to the stage by the Palin family. So once you introduce someone, as in this moment in time, you have no control over what they become later. And, goodness knows, a lot of people have relatives they wish they could put in a box and lock away, but he seems like he's here to stay. Whether he's trying to make money or exploit them, they put him on the stage, and he's using that stage, isn't he? Wow.
You are absolutely right, and he's getting even at every opportunity. Up next, today's Crossing the Line.
Yes, 2 gay men kicked out of a restaurant for a kiss. Plus, when pictures lie, and they do lie sometimes, David, because we've got video to prove that this particular picture being circulated on a lot of blogs that cater to the right is just not right. The details.
I never thought it could happen to me. Heart attack at 50.